Sure, showing the mic.
All right. Hello, everyone. I think we're live.
Let's give it a second here. Make sure it's live. Oh, yep.
All right, we are live. All right, just wanted to say hi to everyone. Julian, Humpty, I think you're all kind of familiar with who we are. We just wanted to welcome everyone and to this live stream, to this AMA, and just talk a little bit about what Poppy is. Before we get started, though, we wanted to do a couple of introductions to ourselves and to the project. And so we wanted to say thank you, first of all, to everyone who supported the project, everyone who has helped fund the project. We have reached the soft cap, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And so now we're aiming towards the hard cap for the funding of the project. Having received the funding for the soft cap of this project definitely helped us understand that everyone in the community, at least those who have supported it, agree with us that this is a very important project for Tron and to add real world use case to TRX as well. So before we kind of jump straight into it, Julian, a few words?
No, sure. Just as Humpty said, this is an exciting project for us. Something we're really proud to present. It's something we're really excited to get in front of.
Mm-hmm.
As you all know, I'm Julian, for Sesame Seed, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, and so also before we get started, I want to say thank you to a few people who are not here at this live stream with us, but definitely are a huge part of the team and that are providing either marketing or development support. So before we get started, just wanted to say thank you to Angel and Stash, who are working on back-end and front-end development for Poppy, and to our marketing development team that include Danny, Snowbeam, Sven, and Natalie, and the community management that we have, which is really awesome. You'll see them on Telegram and on other channels as well, which who are Chris, Nathan, Arion, and Steve. Want to say thank you to them. And also to the TronCard's own development team, who is helping make that possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can get started with some introduction about the project, and then after that, we'll start diving into some of the questions the community has already asked us on Twitter and on Telegram, and ask us. Is how was it conceived?
Sure. So Poppy is really kind of the result of us doing a lot of research about what kind of things Tron is more or less built for. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Tron is very fast, very speedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's responsive. It's inexpensive to run on, and most importantly, it has a pretty strong community.
Yeah.
So really, those were kind of the main factors. And then we started thinking to ourselves, okay, so what kind of things does blockchain itself needs? A POS system is a no-brainer. That's a real-world use case
Mm-hmm.
of a blockchain. It's kind of the pinnacle. It's what everyone's looking for. It's what all of these chains are really looking to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of became the foundation. From there, we've been very fortunate enough to have a few partners here in Los Angeles that have specifically reached out, a few retail chains that are specifically interested in utilizing cryptocurrency within their space. And so that's more or less where Poppy came from.
Yeah, and that's exciting. I mean, I think you mentioned a lot of really good points on there, which are, Tron is a fantastic network in itself, but the community that drives it behind and in front of the scenes a lot of the times, help support a lot of these projects. And so I guess that leads us to the next question: is like, why Seed Germinator? Why was Poppy put into Seed Germinator?
Putting Poppy is a large project in and of itself. The funding that it needs is going to be quite significant, and the real purpose of putting it into Seed Germinator was not so much for that purpose. It was to include the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, we recognize that to a lot of blockchains want to see a POS take off. They want to see a card system. They want to see these things take off. But the only way that they do is with a community backing it, supporting it, using it day one. And that was the real motivation of including it in Seed Germinator, was to make sure that when this thing comes out, that we have a devout community that's a part of this, feels some ownership over it, and is going to be there day one to support it. So that's why things like the TronCard, the actual Poppy application, making sure that this is something that we can install in a lot of retail stores very quickly was so important, because we want you, the community, to go out there and use your card at these terminals, get involved, be a part of this, and recognize that by doing that, you're supporting not only Tron and Poppy, but you're supporting yourself as well by being a key contributor in this project.
Exactly. I mean, the community itself, not just through its funding, but through using Poppy, is adding value to their personal investment and to the network as well.
Exactly.
So that's huge. And so you did mention TronCard a little bit. We're going to talk about that a little bit more down the line. But a lot of this segues into what is valuable, or how Poppy has become a valuable tool, and basically how it will continue to be successful in the future. And this comes from its partnerships and integrations, right? And so the first one, the most important one to talk about, is the network on which we're building it on, right? The Tron network. So let's talk a little bit about why we're utilizing the Tron network, and how that will, or why that's important to the success of the project too.
Sure. I mean, so this comes all down to the speed at which you expect to make a purchase at retail. If you're walking up to a retail location and you're looking to buy something, you're not expecting to wait around for a long period of time. It's not something that you're looking to. It's something that you expect a quick, instant transaction with. You want to make sure that you have the confirmations down. You want to make sure that the transaction is as solid as possible.
Right.
And at the end of the day, these are key features that we're completely used to with Visa and MasterCard.
Right.
Not a lot of blockchains are capable of that, are capable of you walking up, making the purchase, and you don't want to sit there and wait 15 minutes while you get enough confirmations to make sure it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's really nice about Tron is our familiarity with the blockchain will allow us to not only process transactions as solid, but also process transactions even potentially faster than that, which is great.
Yeah.
So that's a huge piece of it. Some of the other kind of factors around Tron is again, it comes back to a lot of the wallets that are there are part of Tron.
Yeah.
The things that exist there that we can build upon. A lot of these are building in some of the same features that we think we can utilize very well in the US.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of blockchains out there. Definitely through our research, we understand that there's other networks that are trying to do the same thing.
Yep.
But I think, and I completely agree with you, that the value that the Tron network brings to this project is its agility, it's its speed, right? And the fact that we can then leverage that to run those transactions at the speed that we're used to doing business.
Yep.
And so, and also the community, as you said earlier, right? There's a community that supports the blockchain that will then also add that utility to the project as well. Yeah. So that's great. And so I think that, there's also other partnerships here that are key. Clover, of course, we'll dive into that next. A lot of people, and I've read this on Twitter, on Telegram, in particular, I think Mike H, he commented this on Twitter, and then I think I saw it again here on the YouTube chat, where he asked, why Clover, right? I mean, we're looking at the amount of systems that are out there, the market share. It doesn't seem like they are the biggest, but they're obviously important to the project for very important ways. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why was Clover the POS system that was chosen for this project?
So when we very first started looking into this, our first thought was, hey, we're just going to build our own POS. You remember this? Mm-hmm. We're going to build our own POS from scratch. We're going to walk out to retailers and try and sell them a system to manage everything, to manage their Visa card, MasterCard, cash payments, gift card payments, and Tron. But the barrier is huge. You know, walking into a retailer, convincing them to hand over their financial integrations is a massive piece of that. So we started looking around at what are the popular POS systems out there today, and we looked at things like Square, Ula. We looked at Clover and a few others, Revel, for example. And at the end of the day, what happened is we came to Clover because we noticed a few things. First of all, they're growing 44% year over year. They're one of the fastest growing POS systems out there. It's built entirely on Android. They have their own marketplace. From a developer perspective, you can walk in and develop your own plugin or application for Clover. You can roll it out to all of their systems, or allow people to download and purchase extensions right at their POS. It's a solid platform. Here in California in particular, it's massive and growing. I think they have about 750,000 installations. So
I mean, I go to tea shops, I go to restaurants, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, probably see it more now because we're working with the Clover platform, and so I'm more aware of it.
Yep.
But you're right, they're almost everywhere here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's just and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a very attractive system. They've put a lot of time into designing it and marketing it well. And it's from a sales perspective, we don't, of course, we're going to have a sales team. Of course, we're going to go there. But now any community member that has a card can walk out and go, oh, you have Clover here. Do you accept this?
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, I'm not sure. And it's like, well, it's a free plugin. Just download it and bam, they accept it now. So the adoption, the barrier to entry for the store, for the retail, it goes down to almost nothing.
Yeah.
And from a sales perspective, trying to get this out there, it's a good way to get into the market.
Absolutely.
And we can establish a good solid base with Clover, get a lot of use cases in, especially around major metropolitan areas, and from there start to branch out into other POS systems.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I'm hearing a lot and what I've seen through our research is that barrier to entry.
Yeah.
That is huge, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency. There are other projects out there that are developing their own hardware, but they have to consider the cost that it will take not just to develop the hardware, but to put it in someone's restaurant. And if you're talking about franchises, they have to put this across, let's say, just to call something small, 100 stores.
Yeah.
That costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, not just to the developer that's producing that hardware, but to the organization or the company that's trying to utilize that. So it's going to really take them some time to consider whether they want to do that or not. But if the Clover POS system already exists, they already have it, to be able to just go in and say, hey, all you got to do is do an update, push that button. And you now have integration with the blockchain, taking TRX and TRON token payments.
Exactly.
So, and then you also mentioned one more thing, which I think, again, leads into the next part of this question, or this program right now that we're doing is, the TronCard.
Yeah.
We have a community that will be able to go in and say, hey, I have this card. I'd like to make a payment using cryptocurrency. You have Clover POS. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And if not, of course, going back, sure, let's just do an update and let's install the plugin, and you have that ability to do it.
Yeah.
So TronCard, let's talk a little bit about that, because that's probably what's driving a lot of excitement in the community.
Yeah.
It is a really sexy looking product. It's slick, black. We're talking about materials. I mean, we don't want to dive too deep into potentially what that could be, but that it's going to be one of the most luxurious elements of this whole project. So let's talk a little bit about what a TronCard means, what makes it unique, and how will it be used with Pocket.
Sure. So I guess this comes back to this repeating theme here, which is lowest barrier to entry possible. Is with everything that we're doing here, we're making sure it has as the ways that you can interact with Clover, or Poppy as Clover. And so, you know, so one of the key functions of the TronCard that we've focused on is basically how it's going to work with other applications, other wallets, in addition to Poppy. So some of the things that we've focused on here is a lot of security. We put in a lot of very unique security features into this to prevent things like tampering, to ensure that payments on the POS, they happen exactly as intended. This could include things like a PIN, input some additional security features. We will be including things like a QR code as well as NFC, which just again opens up the versatility here. There are a lot of wallet applications out there that natively they support QR. So this will be great if you can just take any wallet that you want, scan it, and use your card, and you can make transactions into it, so you can load it very easily. Then the other piece of it is allowing people to acquire the card anonymously is very key to us, because one of the primary functions of the blockchain is your anonymity. So this is something that we've put a lot of time into, is how are we going to get cards in the hands of people without associating a public address with an individual. And it's something we put a lot of time into, and I think we have a pretty unique solution to it. So that's something else that we're pretty excited to roll out. And then it also comes down to the transactions itself. There's going to be a lot of functionality around transactions that happen with the TronCard that are going to be unique to it. It's very much a wallet, a secured wallet as a card. It's going to have some unique functionality in terms to how it confirms transactions, and it's going to give you a simpler, easier to use method of making payments, not just on Poppy, but to any other wallet or application on Tron that you can think of.
And so the TronCard is an amazing product that will drive interest and use to Poppy, to the Tron network. It's definitely still evolving. The design has been sharpening, is becoming more focused. We'll be publishing more designs as we get closer to the actual production of the TronCard. But there's so much in the evolution of this product that I think the community understands its value very easily. And this is something that we mentioned in the white paper and the most recent article, is that TronCard allows you to do business or purchase things the way you're traditionally used to. We all have a credit card. We all have some sort of payment system that's on a card, or at least the majority of us may. And so that's something that we wanted to make sure that we provided to this project, is how can we make this as easy to interact with? And and keep it very exciting at the same time. And there isn't anything more exciting right now, at least, of course, I'm biased, but maybe the community will agree, than Seedit. Seedit has exploded onto Telegram a few months ago, and then Twitter a little over a month ago, and since then, over 20 million TRX already tipped, I believe, at the last count. So many hundreds of thousands of transactions, and so we knew going into the development of Poppy that Seedit needed to be integrated in some way. And there in the white paper we discussed it a little bit. In the article that was recently published, we talked a little bit about it too, how to leverage that for marketing purposes. But can you dive a little deeper into that? Talk a little bit more about why Seedit, how it will be used with Poppy?
So this really comes down to the versatility of Poppy itself. This is not, we're not designing this as a walled garden here. We're designing this thing as open as possible. And one of the things that we really considered with Poppy is that, the TronCard is going to be your most accustomed to way to make a purchase. Sure, that's great. But you're going to be able to pay on Clover in any way that you can process a transaction on the Tron network. If that's opening up your laptop and making a transfer, that would be possible. You could use any sort of application, and that would include Seedit.
Yeah. So
on Seedit, there's a ton of functionality that we've been discussing as coming to it, some new features. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Seedit is a wallet, and it's a wallet that can interact with Poppy in a very simple way. You can send transactions to it. A lot of the people that are listening to this now are probably very familiar with Seedit, and from Twitter, from Telegram today, you'll be able to very easily make your payment at retail. That's very, very possible.
Yeah.
Some of the other we're considering some future improvements to Seedit, some additional applications there that could facilitate this even more so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the things to really know at the end of the day is that Poppy, TronCard, these things, we're building these as open as possible.
Yeah.
So anyone that's building a wallet or a payment system is going to be able to utilize these as easily as possible. So we're being as open within the Tron network as possible, and we're lowering the barrier to new consumers as much as we can as well.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a system where you can come in and use this and not be a developer, not have that long-term experiences with crypto.
Yeah.
You could come into this new and interact with Poppy and TronCard in a very familiar way that my parents will have no problem with.
Yeah, and I think that e-commerce for a long time has been hugely important. To merchants and retailers. A lot of business has moved online, but there's still a divide between social media and this e-commerce.
Yeah.
And so the beauty of integrating with Seedit is the fact that there is already an established use, a proven use.
Yeah.
Twitter has been fantastic. People are trading tokens. So I can only imagine how that will translate when you can, as a merchant, potentially have a promotion.
Yeah.
And say, hey, go to Twitter and purchase using Seedit.
Yeah.
And so you're now leveraging two very powerful tools. You're leveraging cryptocurrency, and you're leveraging social media. You're able to engage with customers like you never have been able to.
Oh, it's huge.
Before. Yeah.
It's totally different. It's a completely new retail experience.
Absolutely.
Because at the point of sale, you're going to be able to interact with your consumer over Twitter, and you'll be able to provide them discounts there. They'll be able to redeem their discounts there. I'm not aware of anything else that exists like that today.
Not at this scale. I mean, even if there were, I don't think that it's able to engage so many different working parts.
Yeah.
Of the way that we do business. Today.
Yep.
Maybe they can engage one or two, but or Poppy, should I say, is seeking to engage in a way that it's never been seen before. And so it's really exciting. It's really exciting. And as we get really close to that hard cap, I believe at last this that I saw, we're close to 50% to getting there. So this is really exciting. So I guess we can talk a little bit, unless you want to add more about Seedit.
No, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to think of where this could go. Seedit is really interesting because you've taken social media and you've tied it into the blockchain.
Yeah.
And you've now taken retail and tied it into the blockchain. And it's not difficult to think of ways in which Seedit and retail can now interact with, or social and retail can now interact with each other across the blockchain, doing things like offering discounts or specialized tokens that represent discounts or gift cards, retailers issuing whatever they want on the Tron network and having consumers actually redeem that. Something we've kind of teased a bit as well as some potential future functionalities over how Poppy is going to be able to allow users to interact with tokens.
beyond just TRX.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the development, where we're at now.
Yeah.
And I guess the one thing that I can talk a little bit about is the marketing aspect of it. You know, I feel incredibly fortunate, and I mentioned our team earlier, to be working with a group that has such a diverse skill set. You know, everyone who is in our team is able to produce at the highest level, and engage our community and others who have never heard of Tron, you know, are familiar more with the traditional point of sale, and create something that is energetic and inspires curiosity.
Yeah.
And so where we're at today is exactly that. We're developing materials to be able to engage with our community, with Tron, obviously with the general Tron community, and to be able to start having a conversation with those that are not familiar with cryptocurrency. And we're doing that through various ways. We're doing that via graphics and print media. We're looking at being able to publish using traditional media as well. And we're doing this through social media, through optimizing what we do online as well. SEO, we have people in our team that are fantastic at that. So we're looking to create this program that is able to connect with people in various ways. And so, you know, many of you have already seen some of that development be published, and there's so much more. There's so much more. You know, we have an excited community and excited partners as well. You know, the TRON Foundation has been fantastic at listening to us and understanding what the value is to the functionality of the network too. So we're in development, and we're excited to show so much more of which we've already started producing.
Yeah.
And on the hardware side, on the technical side, should I say, did you want to share a little bit about where we're at today?
Sure. At the begrudging request of some of our technical team, I do want to share some of the details about it. We've been working on Poppy for a while. It's not like we're waiting for the hard cap to get started on this. This began in late August.
Yeah.
We're pretty deep into it now. At this point, where we stand today is we're coming up on some core functionality tests here, shooting for mid-November. Those tests will be done on Clover hardware, on Clover developer kits. We have ordered some of our first samples of the TronCard to interact with those dev kits.
Yeah,
so we'll actually be processing some potential blockchain transactions on Clover hardware here fairly soon, which is exciting, and it really comes down to making sure that our rollout is going to be as stable as it can be. We're going to be delivering a finished product here, something that's been very well tested. So though these tests are starting here very soon, we're still looking for a really good solid rollout.
Yeah, and I think something important that I heard you say there is the fact that we've been working on this for some time now.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I did hear, some of the chatter on Telegram and other social media platforms, was how can they develop or promise these timelines so quickly? You know, the project hasn't been funded yet.
Yep.
You know, how are they able to do this? But this is something that the team has been working on for quite some time. The research was done a long time ago, before it even was brought as a proposal to the Seed Germany.
Oh, far before, yeah.
So now that we've reached the soft cap, we know that we've reached this first phase of funding.
Yeah.
We're full steam ahead in development. These development kits are coming so that we can start testing this.
Yep.
Right? Like you said, the first iteration of the TronCard to understand the way that it will work. All of these things are in the process, so that we can meet these deadlines and deliver something the way that we've promised to the community, that we're trying to hit everything. We're working really hard to hit everything.
Yes.
On time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's exciting, and I think so. Aside from the development of it, I guess once we release it, we'll talk a little bit about how we plan to do that.
Yeah.
Do we have any information about that release?
Sure. We're actually looking at a private beta to be done in mid-January.
Wow.
It's going to be done at an actual pop-up retail location.
Nice.
We are targeting right now San Francisco.
TRON Foundation headquarters.
Yep. To actually have a pop-up in San Francisco, which we're trying to coordinate with the developer conference there.
Nice.
And we're hoping for to basically put people, you know, at a retail store to be able to interact with Poppy, with all these features that we've been discussing in a live environment for January.
Yeah, that's exciting. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's somewhere mid-January, January 18th, I believe is the TRON DevCon.
Yeah, 17th, 18th is, I believe, the tentative date. I'm not sure if that's final on their part, but that's what we are targeting.
Right.
We're going to make sure that we're good to go for early January regardless. So.
That's exciting. I mean, this is the first DevCon for TRON Foundation.
Yep.
So this is going to be a really exciting and momentous event for them, and to be able to bring something that shows that real-world use case to the city in which they're headquartered, and have the community participate in that as well, I think would be huge. I think it'll be a big moment for everyone involved in TRON and with Poppy. Yeah, that's great. That's really great. All right. Well, I guess some of the things that I did want to cover and talk about was about the soft cap, right? So we've reached that soft cap. We talked about that several times already.
Yep.
So what are our next goals? What are our milestones moving forward?
So obviously some of the key features here are we are halfway to our hard cap. The hard cap is really the way that this is the way that we're going to be allowing people to interact with Poppy, to contribute to Poppy and participate in it once it's live.
Yeah.
We'll be issuing tokens based off of this. We've already set the tokenomics behind this of how that's going to work. That's a pretty robust plan in and of itself. It's going to function as part of the loyalty on Poppy as well, so that's pretty key. Some of the other key milestones here are, just as I mentioned before, that we're shooting for a mid-November to start our testing on the Clover application on Clover hardware. That's exciting. TronCard, trying to get that rolled out here as quickly as possible, and then the actual launch.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that, you know, one of the things that you mentioned earlier about the development of this, it's really exciting. It's Android based, right? Yep. So it definitely facilitates the development of it.
Yeah.
Right. It's really, there's plenty of developers for that, and of course we have our sharp developers working on that.
Yep. On
finding a solution to get that done as quickly as possible. So let's see. Oh, okay. So I think another exciting question to talk about is the incentives to funding Poppy. You know, we've kind of, through a lot of excitement in the community, have reached that soft cap, and reached it very quickly, under 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So that was exciting. And so it kind of didn't even give us an opportunity to talk a little bit about how we can incentivize that funding.
I know, yeah.
And so let's talk about it today. Let's talk about how we can incentivize those who have already, by the way, reached certain level of funding, and those who in the future are kind of figuring out, well, what's going to inspire me to fund this, and to fund a certain amount of my, you know, hard-earned TRX.
Sure.
So what incentives are we proposing to the community? Well,
first of all, there's going to be no other way to get a Poppy token aside from this. These tokens are going to be exclusive to this funding round. They are going to have a lot of utility within the Poppy system itself, despite the fact that they'll all be completely absorbed like this. We do plan on using them in a pretty unique way. Something that I'm still working and finalizing on how it's going to be presented, but there will be significant utility to the Poppy token beyond what's been described. But the incentives specifically, as we've described, are 5-to-1 for seed token, which is pretty strong. It's again, the only way to get it is going to be through this. And the other piece is we've really been looking at the card itself and the kinds of incentives that we can do around that. One of the things that we've come to is we'd like to offer complimentary cards to anybody that contributes 10,000 or more TRX to the project itself.
Yeah,
I think that that's absolutely fair. If people are contributing that amount, this is a gift, a way to include them a bit more in this to make sure that they're one of the first to actually receive it.
Yeah.
And so basically anybody that contributes more than 10,000 TRX to Poppy is going to be one of the first people to get a card. So
yeah, that's exciting. I mean, you know, so the TronCard is being developed for everyone who wants to use it. There's a lot of development behind it. So the logistics behind trying to deliver these are going to take some working on. But we do want to incentivize the community to fund it, and we want to reward those who have made a significant contribution. And so a contribution of 10,000 TRX will automatically queue you up to get this TronCard first. So it's a really exciting product that I think that a lot of the community would want to have their hands on first. So that seems like a small enough investment where we're still leaving it open to the community to say, hey, 10,000 TRX, I can put that in, and have this project funded, get that TronCard first, and like you said, get into this Poppy token, which will not be available any other way.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and so I think from here we can kind of start taking some of these community questions.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to add anything else.
I'd love to.
And I wanted to just really quick take one that D for Dennis put up here that said, at which point do we see people move away from just holding their crypto to actually using them as payment? And I think I just want to say something that I've seen said before. I think someone even mentioned it on the latest app Guild chat. Someone was on there and said, "Oh, the Tron card will take me from a Tron holder to a Tron spender," something like that. And I think that there are different ways to enable this utility, this use of the token. And so TronCard is going to be one of those. And so when do I think that will happen? I think that will happen very quickly, because people are looking for ways to start using these tokens, to start using crypto in the world.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly right. And one of the things that we're actually working on right now is allowing vendors to set pricing in a very dynamic way.
Yeah.
So they can assign a price based on a market price, or they can set it at a fixed rate. And what that's going to do is, I think that because Tron, the cost of Tron is, I should say, the value of Tron is where it is right now, and it's designed to be used, it's designed to be interacted with. I think that it allows for us to use it at retail.
Yeah,
it's not a $100 coin.
Yeah.
It's not built to be used in that way. This is a utility token or a utility coin that's built to be interacted with, and it's built to be exchanged and move and have. You take a look at Tron itself. The transactions are free or no cost, right? They're very, very fast.
Yeah.
Tron designed this coin, the TRX coin, to be used.
Yeah. So
that's kind of where this system's coming from. And I think that I saw a comment here that I thought was pretty interesting too.
Should I
think
scroll up?
it was also from D for Dennis.
Should I scroll up slowly?
No, I think it was down here, a little bit lower.
Or at the bottom here. This
something
one
about D for Dennis. This is so interesting here. Tron started out as an entertainment coin, but it's moved on. Tron's moving more towards a payments solution. Where did this change of direction come from? I think it's like when you keep putting really cool tools in the same box, just the output is going to be a really cool project. And it started out as an entertainment coin, but like I said, it's so fast, it's so liquid. It's perfect for POS, for retail.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen another project that has such a strong community support with all of the different functionality that you just mentioned in this token.
Yeah.
I think that together is driving a lot of the evolution of it as well. It's evolving.
Yes.
I think that Tron has a mission to what they want to achieve, but the community itself is contributing in their own ways and adding value to it along the way.
Well, and you know, the community is so key here. You look at, I do want to mention Seedit for a second here. You take a look at the XRP tip bot, right?
Oh yeah.
That's been out for I want to say about 8 months right now.
Yeah.
You know, when we were looking at it, I believe it was at something like 50,000 transactions in the first 6 months, something that we exceeded, I mean, virtually immediately. And that's not a reflection of the popularity of the coin. XRP is incredibly popular coin.
Big community behind it too.
Big community, huge community behind it. But you look at what that says about the community. And it tells me that the community on Tron isn't just a big community to figure out what the price is and where it's going and how much they can make off of it. It's a big community because they want to interact with it. I mean, we're many times over what XRP Tipbot is doing now, and that's a reflection of the community.
I think so. You know, I think it's been overwhelmingly supported wherever it's been. You know, there's still plans to continue developing Seedit, engaging different communities, different platforms. So I think that it will just continue growing wherever it goes. It will get support wherever it goes, and we're very fortunate to be a small part of that as well. And to be able to bring that onto Poppy again will add more value to it.
Yeah, and I think it's like the same thing. That's why you're not seeing these strong POS systems from other coins, because I think that's one of the concerns is, are people going to use it? And our community has shown, they're going to use it.
Exactly.
So
I completely agree with that. I mean, every project that I've seen come into the network has had overwhelming support from the community in one way or the other, whether it's through funding or through interacting with it or just participating in the conversation. Those Telegram rooms get filled up really quickly. You know, everyone wants to be a part of the conversation. They want to see the evolution, and they know that we're really early into something extremely unique and special.
Yes.
So I think that, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable in any other project, you know, that's not the Tron network, to develop the things that we're doing, because you would have to consider the risk, a very high risk, if it will be utilized.
Yes.
Yeah. And right now, I think that we've seen that the community will pick up a project very quickly, and they themselves will be a huge part of the marketing for that project.
Yeah.
Which, you know, on the marketing end makes things a little easier too, because we understand that if you are very clear about what that project means and how the community can benefit from it, that they will support it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I expect that that Poppy will reach its hard cap. You know, especially as we get closer to the end date, and as we have started announcing incentives for using or funding Poppy, I think that the community will pick it up and say, hey, you know, well, let's get this to its full funding so that we can make sure that this gets rolled out with very few roadblocks, you know, where it's like, oh, should we consider the cost for this? You know, we know that we definitely can 100% without worries get to that.
Yeah, this is, I mean, Poppy was set to go. It was a launch live project right at the beginning. The seed germinator piece was really there to include the community. That's what it's there for.
And we want to keep that community engaged as much as possible and open it up. Everyone on the Tron network that wants to jump in and say, hey, I want to be a part of this project, let's do it. Let's keep going forward.
Everyone's a potential partner. If they're using Tron, everyone's a potential partner. Every wallet, every payment service, everyone's a potential partner here. We're all on this boat together. We all want to see Tron succeed. We're all excited to use it out there in the real world. So Poppy, TronCard is going to work with as many things as we possibly can get it to work with.
And you know, and there are announcements to be made in the future about what these new partnerships mean. Who are they? How will they be used on Poppy? And so these conversations are ongoing. And so we will confirm these partnerships as we get, you know, down the road a little bit. But I mean, everyone's excited about it. Even other organizations on the network that want to participate as well. And so yesterday I was actually on Telegram and I was having this really great conversation with Bada Bing on the Poppy Telegram, and we talked a little bit about how we're going to interact with e-commerce, and then there was questions about how developers can utilize the Poppy API.
Yeah.
So can we talk about a little bit about that? Like, will Poppy have a developer API?
There will be a payment protocol
okay.
that is available for developers,
okay.
specifically to allow it to be implemented into wallets, that kind of functionality.
Mm-hmm.
On the TronCard, we are having some discussions internally about this right now.
Yeah.
The security around this is pretty high, and we absolutely want as many developers to interact with the card itself as possible. But there is a certain piece of this that we definitely need to be careful with in regards to security. I'll tell you right now, most of our discussions right now are around security in regards to the TronCard itself.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time has been spent on just that dialogue, but it's the singular most important thing we're discussing today.
Yeah. I mean, some in our development team might say we don't want to pinch our fingers.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Look up that saying. It's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I guess now we could talk a little bit about the distribution of the token, and answer some of these questions that we've seen since the project went on Seed Germinator. When will the Poppy token be distributed?
Yeah. As soon as the hard cap is met, the funding round closes. That's when the Poppy token is going to be both issued and distributed, which is why we can't distribute it now. Is we don't know how many seed tokens versus how many TRX will be put into it, and that will change the amount, because the exact amount that's contributed is exactly how it will determine the exact quantity that we issue of this token. Yeah. There will be no other tokens made around this, and this is going to be the only use of it. So we do have to wait until the close.
Okay. And so I guess that answered my next question, which is when will it be distributed? So I guess we could talk about what does it represent. I think you covered this briefly, but if you want to talk a little bit more about it.
Sure. So the Poppy token, it's obviously the only way that we're allowing people to contribute or to fund directly into Poppy is via this token. So it's a vehicle for that. But as a lot of our viewers probably know, we're very good at coming up with utilities around our tokens.
Yeah.
We're doing the same here with Poppy. Poppy is going to have, the Poppy token itself is going to have significant utility in and of itself. The fact that it is a very restricted supply is a major factor. We are seriously considering it right now to be a TRC20 token, which is probably what will happen with it at its launch, and that's going to open up a lot of additional features alongside it as well. So more to come on that. I don't want to go too far. I don't want to pinch my fingers on it, but I can assure you that the utility of the Poppy token is going to be quite significant.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're kind of reaching the end of our discussion.
Yep.
I think I'll go through here to see if I see any questions from the top that we haven't covered already. Of course, Mike, we got your question there about why we chose Clover as the point of sale system. Did you have one there that you want to talk about?
Oh, D for Dennis has another good one here on phone payments. This is super cool, actually.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to someone, to someone yesterday about this exact thing, and that's that the card itself is going to be we're talking about NFC. We're talking about how that works. That's not as popular in the United States as I saw when I met Angel and Stash in Europe and Rovac in Europe. It's and Arian. I apologize, and others too. I'm sorry to everyone. Yeah, it's not as popular as it is there, but Clover's systems definitely is open to tap style cards.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna pinch my fingers on this one, but I will say that from our current view, based on the discussion that I had with our card manufacturer yesterday, I believe it was, they do tap cards for Clover.
Okay.
There's no reason that couldn't work as well for TronCard, which would mean that we could potentially have a payment protocol that does include that for wallet applications. Okay. So for other wallets that want to include a feature around this, that can potentially work.
Okay.
And I know one wallet in particular is already looking at this quite aggressively independent of us. So this may be a perfect way to meet in the middle where you'll be able to potentially use your phone.
Wow. Okay. That's exciting. So, I mean, it's a lot of this is still developing.
Yes.
We obviously will not be pinching our fingers, like we've said many times already.
This is just investigation.
There's still opportunity.
Yes.
We haven't reached the end of where Poppy and TronCard will live. There's still a lot of development. And that's what's exciting about this project, that even though there was a goal in mind with what we wanted to achieve, as we continue researching, we're finding new and novel ways of creating
we're having a lot of fun with the potential here, but I think that at the end of the day, we want a really stable, robust system that meets these core things come in January.
Yeah.
So these core features that we've discussed, being able to utilize a card at a terminal here, at our pop-up store in January, that's our target. Additional features seem very reasonable within that scope, but our core is the first thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, excellent. So going back to what we're saying, we'll share that with the community as soon as we have more information. Where can you find us? Well, our website's actually, so right now we just have a landing page, but it's in development. We hope by the end of the month, we'll have the website with a lot of more features and functionality to be up. That's poppypos.com. You can also find us on Telegram at poppypos. Our team is there. We have Arion, who's always on there, and I think Steve has jumped on there several times already. Of course, Julian, myself, and the rest of our team will go on there and answer as many questions as we can. It definitely seems like the best tool for this type of engagement, this type of conversation.
I think so.
We're also, on Twitter. We're at poppypos. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We'll be sharing information in creative ways as well, so that the community, no matter where they're at, the users, the merchants, the consumers can find us and engage with us as well, and that way Poppy can be a success from the very beginning.
Yeah. On
Medium, on the Sesame Seed blog, we have a section just for Poppy, which you can find us, and that's medium.com/Sesame Seed org. You can find us there. All the links should be in the description below, so you can find us and get all this information as quickly as possible, and you can be informed as potentially as a contributor to the project, but also as a merchant if you're looking for ways to use this, and as a consumer if you're looking for ways to purchase things using the Tron tokens and TronCard in the future.
Cool.
All right,
man.
So I guess we can wrap this up. If we've missed any of your questions, we truly apologize about that. Please share those on the Telegram, like we've mentioned already. We'll jump on there and we'll answer these as quickly as possible. But we're really excited for this project. We're really excited that the community is behind it and is supporting it, and they share our excitement, and they're also with their questions are helping us see things differently and find other solutions that potentially we wouldn't have come up with otherwise.
Yeah.
So we hope you'll join us there and be a part of this conversation as it continues evolving.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.